Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So it's November the 5th. Yeah, it's November the 5th.
Yeah,
Bonfire
firework
night,
night.
Guy Fawkes night, when Guy Fawkes tried to burn down the Houses of Parliament. Isn't that a good idea? But anyway, moving on swiftly from there. So talking of which, basically, we thought we'd just have a quick catch up. Obviously, back in February, I think it was, we
Yeah.
did an audience with Chen, and Chen came through, as he does, talked about his own thing, as he does. And one of the things he talked about was the fact that we were to be expecting some type of turbulence, basically, in November,
The end of November.
the end of November. Here it is, November the 5th, start of November. So obviously there's been not a lot said really from our perspective. So we just wanted to kind of fill you guys in from our perspective as to where we were and why not much has really been said. So when Chen came through and gave that kind of broadcast, I guess, and information that we had kind of no knowledge of, obviously that was coming direct from source from him. It was his view of how things were likely to pan out in November. And obviously we were kind of totally blindsided by that really. And I think his idea at the time was that he was trying to give it in a positive way. So it was supposed to be a positive message to basically get some cans of baked beans and some water and expect the power to go off, possibly, the internet to go down, possibly, some problems with the finance system, possibly. So it was kind of a, if things go wrong, just be prepared. Well, that was his kind of message. And I think he tried to give that in a positive way. Obviously, what kind of happened on the back of that messaging is people kind of went into a bit of a free fall and became quite fearful and worried and talked about closing bank accounts and cancelling pensions and all sorts of other things, which wasn't really our intent at all. And it isn't the messaging that we tend to give. It's certainly not part of our agenda. So we don't tend to be in the kind of
fear causing.
Yeah, the fear market really. It's all right. Positivity, positive messages, and obviously spiritual messages. So because it appeared to be conspiratorial, we stood back and stopped any conversation that from that day onwards, really, from February to now. And obviously we're aware that on social media there were lots of sort of sensational conversations and people talking about things and that kind of blew up into a big storm. And that's the reason that you haven't heard from us about November. So here we are in November. So we're not sure as to what's likely to happen. Chen obviously has his own opinion. You guys,
maybe nothing. He did say at the time that things change.
Things change, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they do. Obviously, he did say, look at the events that happened before November. And I think anyone that's looking at the world stage today can see there's been lots of events happening and lots of things that are quite abnormal, really, in a very short timeline. So from our perspective, the events that we're seeing around the world do indicate that there could be
maybe something
turbulence coming, but obviously we don't know.
Yeah.
So that was our update, really.
Things may have changed.
Things may have changed.
They may not be happening. Excuse me. I've had a cold and I'm very husky, so I do apologise if I cough and if I do sound a bit like that.
Husky.
I'm very husky.
Yeah, exactly. Good to have a husky voice. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's just kind of our update as to where we are. We still don't really know what's going to happen. We're all going to find out at the end of November. Either nothing will happen or things do when they do. So that was just kind of where we are from that perspective. And that kind of leads us on to the reason that we're actually here today. It's because we managed to nail ourselves down.
Yeah.
For 5 minutes.
Both at the same time.
Both at the same time. It's been a bit hectic. It's always hectic, really, because obviously we're running two businesses. We've got SRA and our own personal things. There's lots of things happening and two businesses that are running. And Jane's been quite busy, madly shipping pendants and pyramids and
our new
coasters,
bracelets,
all those sorts of things.
The help of Vanessa.
I haven't got any. No, of course. This is a laugh. When I go to the cupboard and say to Jane, "Oh, where are the new pendants that I might choose to wear today?" They've all gone, basically. So quite often,
but you do have a few hanging on the bedstead.
I've got a few on the bedstead. I quite like the new ones, and when we make new ones, I quite like to obviously test drive a new model with new crystals and things in. So I go to the box to see them, and they're empty, basically. So the old thing, isn't it? So when you're making things and selling them yourself, generally you don't actually get to wear your own products because they tend to be out of stock quite quickly. But we are trying to make things fast.
Bracelets are beautiful. I do need to keep one myself.
Yeah, Vanessa will probably want one as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm probably.
But she test drove the bracelet.
Yeah, right.
She wore it for, I think it was 3 weeks before we put them on the website. She wore it in the shower when she was washing up in bed. She just kept it on just to sort of test drive it and make sure that it was everything was going to stay as it should. And it was all fine. So those of you that have ordered them, enjoy them. They are beautiful.
Perfect. You'll be the first people to test drive them.
Yeah.
So let us know your feedback, because we're very keen to hear feedback of the things that we're diligently making in our kind of shed factory at the bottom of the
I'm
garden.
going to put a little video out at some point as well, aren't we?
Yeah,
I'm going
quite
to
cool.
I'm going to video Andy making his creations. So
Yeah.
we'll put that out.
Well, we've got a few people making things. Vanessa makes some things. I'll make some things. Brian makes some things. So we are kind of trying to get things made as fast as possible.
Okay. So if the big man is ready.
Big man's always ready.
Okay.
So what we'll do is we'll hand over to Chen. Jane's got a whole list of questions. I mean, we've got
a few, because I've got a few here and there. So there's more than 5.
More than 5 questions. Shall we be happy?
Gonna be very pleased.
He likes more than 5 questions.
I'm sorry if my glasses are reflecting, but I need to see my screen.
Okay. Well, we'll pass over to Chen and I will catch you in a bit. Good day, my dear.
Hello, Chen.
And how are you?
I'm okay, thank you. Apart from a bit of a husky voice following a cold and cough, but apart from that, I'm okay.
'Tis the time of the year.
It is,
The season, as they say. 'Tis the season.
It is. 'Tis the season to be jolly.
Yes. You know, jolly's good. Laugh every day.
Yeah, we do that.
I know a man that says that.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
Who would that be?
I can't think of him. Sure, he's very wise.
Yes, I'm sure he is.
And very funny.
Yes, yes, you are very funny.
Yes, I like to try and be funny.
Yeah.
I think our messaging and our quotes come across quite nicely when we make them jovial.
They do. They do. I have to say, today's quote about standing in line and standing by you, I can't say it properly without a tear, but
You're sat by me.
I know. I
Yes,
know.
my dear.
I know. It was the comments were very, very touching. It did make me cry a little.
Yes. Well, of course, energy carries emotion.
Yeah. Well, everybody loves you, Chen, and that came through loud and clear today.
Yes, it's very nice to hear, my dear.
Yeah.
And of course, I too love everyone too. That's why we're here working together, because we're all playing our part. I am merely another cog in a bigger wheel, so they say. And there are lots of cogs. And behind the scenes, there are lots of wheels.
But you're the main cog, aren't you?
I like to think of myself as a prominent cog, I guess, to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But of course, we won't be too
elaborate.
Yes, we need to be careful, because of course you tried to catch me out, my dear, didn't you? I know you're game. Young Andrew tries to do this sometimes.
Yeah, I know he does. I know. You don't let on though.
Yeah, of course.
No.
No.
You stubbornly refuse to say.
One day you will all know.
Yeah, we will.
Obviously. So it's just a timeline thing, really.
Yeah.
And sometimes, as they say, the the things behind it's like when you watch a magic show, isn't it? If you know how the magic's done, it's no longer magic. So sometimes knowing things behind the scenes is better not to know.
Yes. Yes. Well, we'll find out one day.
Yes. But
and in the meantime, we all stand in line with you.
Yes, that's good, my dear. We all link arms.
Always, yes.
And we'll all step forward together, because energetically that becomes a very immovable object.
Yeah, very powerful.
Yes, if you can imagine a line of people, thousands of people linking arms, standing in line, there's nothing that can happen to that line to break it. Because there is no weak link then when everyone is arm to arm. And this is the key. Energetically, what we see from a physical perspective, the same is happening, of course, on the spiritual aspect in the astral.
Yes, yes.
So time is it's an interesting time in planet Earth's history. This is quite a monumental time, actually, of change. So standing in line, there's a reason that I chose that particular quote and meme, as they say. See, I'm learning the terminology. Yeah. Andrew talks to me about memes. I used to have no idea what he was talking about. I don't think he did either, to be quite honest at times.
No.
But now we do understand the concepts. So basically, these memes are picked for the energy and the vibration of the day. And that one, stand in line, was very pertinent for today.
Oh.
Because, of course, it aligns with events in history that have happened on this day because of the vibration. So if you think about the things in history, people are celebrating Guy Fawkes Night this evening.
Yes.
And the concept was that the person that was called Guy Fawkes was obviously trying to do some nefariously naughty things, but for the right reasons.
Yes.
So he was trying to bring integrity and truth into the governmental system, if you like.
Yes, yes. Well, we have our modern day one that's doing that, don't we?
Yes.
Not to mention any names, because we're not political.
We do. Interesting to watch, though, of course.
Yes.
Yes. I'm sure we could probably do a whole conversation about that particular person.
Yes. Yes, I'm sure we could.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'd be a very interesting conversation too.
Yes, I'm sure we could dig up some very interesting things if we looked at the actual field around that particular person to see who's interacting with him and what he's doing and for what reasons.
And
of
for the
course.
reasons, I know that's the most important
Yes.
thing, isn't it?
But as you say, we keep away from politics.
Yes. Yes, well, getting away from politics, we've got several questions this evening.
Oh, good.
Yes, I thought you'd be pleased. The first one came on a YouTube comment. Do you know what YouTube is?
Yes, of course.
Yes, okay.
We broadcast on YouTube.
We do. That's right. Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I don't have the name of the person, but her YouTube name is at Carey1121. And they sent a question in, or a comment, really. I'd love to know what Chen thinks of Bashar. And I'd love to know too.
Very interesting.
Yes.
So Bashar being the entity that obviously speaks through another human person.
Yes.
So of course we all are entities in our own right, and we all have our own energetics, we have our own understanding. So Bashar, of course, effectively is part of what we would say is the same contingent that I would belong to. So energetically, if you look at vibratory frequency, everything is vibration. We always talk about this on every call, every time we talk. Everything is vibration and frequency. So when we look at different personalities, different people channel, obviously they're going to align to certain frequencies of vibration. So Bashar and I are on the same level, on the same line of frequency. So he obviously is depicted, he of course energetically is seen to be male, is depicted as an entity that obviously is channeling through Daryl, I believe.
Yes.
And he's been doing that for a long, long time. And again, the messaging and the information that he's broadcasting is of similar content to myself, because of course we're aligning ourselves with the same frequency. So what we have is we have different people that have been chosen to channel entities such as myself and Bashar, and those people are giving the same message in a different way. So if you're a school teacher, you will know intricately the way to teach children is to have multiple ways to deliver the same information.
Yes.
Some people are pictorial and image-based, some people are theoretical and text-based. So again, delivering messaging has to come in different ways for different groups of people to assimilate that into their conscious mind.
Yes.
So my messaging is very similar to Daryl's, but from a completely different context. But vibratory-wise,
But the message is the same.
yes, we're working for the same. We have the same boss, my dear.
Oh, there we are. Oh, that's interesting. Little snippet.
There's a snippet.
Yes.
It gives you some idea that there is a hierarchy behind the scenes.
Yes.
And we all have jobs to do to a certain degree, and we all have a management team of sorts that we work with, that we decide things. And I know you talked earlier about some of the information that was provided by myself back in February.
Yes.
And of course, that was chosen and given by, again, a coordinated management team of entities that I belong to.
And you're the spokesperson.
Yes, I like to be the jovial, funny face.
Well, you do interact with us humans very well, Chen, I've got to say.
Yes, well, I quite like humans,
Yes.
of course, having been one myself.
Exactly, yeah.
I know how difficult your lives are. And this is why we try to make things jubilant and fun. Because, of course, if I can say things and do things that make people laugh, that make people feel positive in themselves, and just for a brief moment they get to forget about their lives, the troubles, the financial problems, the day-to-day challenges that come. Just for a moment, if you laugh, it changes how you feel. And this is obviously part of my remit, is to try to broadcast positive words, quotes, and energy to help uplift the people that listen to the messaging. Obviously,
well, you do that very well.
Cryon is another one of the channeled entities that has the same frequency of vibration as myself and Bashar. So there are many different entities here. There are many different entities, lots that are not known. Lots of people are channeling the same context of information through people, but aren't quite as prominent or don't have a social platform per se to do this.
Well, they don't have a medium for that, do you mean?
They're working with mediums in the same way that we are today, through Andrew and yourselves, but they don't actually have a platform. So the information has been provided to closed groups. So closed groups of people, generally people that are higher up in the not really the political system, but people with more power to do more things are receiving information in a private forum, let's say.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's food for thought.
Thought just dawned on you, my dear.
Yes, it
didn't
did. I did have a thought, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
That's good.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, well, thank you very much for that. That's interesting. If anybody has got any more questions on that, please, please do email us in. I'm sure Chen is always happy to come back again next time and fill us in on a little bit more.
Yes. So from the actual answer to the question is Bashar is a friend of mine,
Yes.
basically.
Yes.
We work on the same level, do the same things.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Cynthia Sanders. So here is a question. What are the common symptoms that Andy identifies when his ground is off or being spiritually attacked? What is the best remedy to fix this?
Okay, so we're talking about that's a question for Andrew, really.
It is, isn't it? Yes.
But of course, the answer would be the same for most people. So generally, if your grounding is off, your energetics, the spiritual vibration that's part of you, isn't connected to the planet's inner vibration. So you talk about grounding as putting roots or grounding roots out of your feet and pulling yourself in. What you're basically doing, you're a spiritual energy on top of a planet, effectively. And of course, if your vibration starts to lift or you start to detach from your physical body, the spiritual body and the physical body are not attached. They're not located together. They're loosely held together, but they're loosely held together from a spiritual perspective. So of course, if the spiritual part starts to detach from the physical, and things like drugs, alcohol, substances, medical substances can obviously do this, then people feel not grounded. And this is where you find yourself very woolly-headed. You might start knocking into lots of things and become quite clumsy. So those sorts of symptoms are symptoms of a lack of grounding.
Being upright, yeah.
Because the spiritual part of you isn't really located properly in the physical, and therefore the animation doesn't really work properly.
No, okay.
Sorry, my dear.
Sorry, I was just going to say, so if Cynthia is actually meaning you identify with Andy's energy, don't you? Yes. So would you say that he feels the same as somebody else if they're not grounded?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so he has the same feelings.
Yes.
And then we were talking about spiritual attacks.
Yes.
So from a spiritual attack perspective, how would you know you're being attacked spiritually? So there are different symptoms that we would expect to see. One is head-based. So people that are having headaches, intrusion into the etheric field causes pain, as you know, my dear. So if someone sticks a needle in your eye in the astral, you've had it lots yourself.
I have, yeah.
This is a common attack.
Is it?
Yes. Then people get an intense pain in their eye.
Yeah, right in the corner, like a needle.
Yes. And if you look psychically at the person, you can see the needle sticking out of their eye. And of course, as you know, yourself and young Andrew have experienced this many times.
Yes.
And you just pull that energy out of the field. And then, of course, the pain disappears immediately.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. The same in the back of the head, just at the top of your neck as well. Yes. Same place.
So unexplained pains obviously are a clue that you're being attacked from a spiritual perspective. Sleeping, of course, is the biggest clue, really. If you have attachments or you have things that are connected to your field, they will manipulate your dream state. They will give you nightmares. They will cause things like sleep paralysis, where you can't really move in your sleep and you start to become quite fearful. And they could lots of them manipulate the dream state sexually. So you start to feel sexually aroused whilst you're sleeping, or you come to and you're feeling in that state, but for no reason. So all of those things are giveaway clues that there's some form of manipulation happening in your field from an attack perspective.
Yes.
But of course, the list tends to go on and on. But these are the immediate clues that people would be able to identify with.
Yes. Yes. And of course, feeling bad-tempered too.
Bad-tempered, anxious, annoyed, irritable.
That's what I did. Yeah, when I said bad-tempered, I meant annoyed and irritable. Yeah.
Yes. So when you leave the house in the morning and you're singing and you're happy in yourself and you go and spend time around other people, if you pick up an attachment and you come back in and suddenly everything seems to be irritating, especially your husband in your case, then there's a clue that you have a hitchhiker that's jumped on.
I brought something home.
Yes, but of course, young Andrew's normally quite quick to notice these things.
Yes, he is. Yes, yeah. When he sorted it out for me. And you've picked up.
You've picked up.
Yeah.
Yes,
I should have worked that out myself. Yeah.
But of course, you don't work out yourself because the way that these attachments happen, you don't really notice.
But it's real feelings, isn't it?
You just feel irritated and annoyed with your husband. And that can be a regular occurrence.
Yes, it's a general feeling.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you. I hope that answers your question, Cynthia. So Katya Tiley, I like this one too. Hi, Chen. How do you have fun on the other side? Or is the work you do your entertainment?
Very
I'd like to think
interesting.
some some of that.
I find this fun.
Yes.
I get to borrow a human being's body for a very short period of time, and I can do with it what I will to
Yeah.
a certain degree, and I can laugh and joke. So this I consider to be the fun part of my job, really.
Yes.
Obviously, on the other side, we don't have a physical body to animate, and therefore we don't have emotions. And if you don't have emotions, then of course you don't really have fun per se.
No.
Everything becomes just core conscious awareness.
Mm.
So you can imagine, whilst I'm in this body, I can crack jokes. And you might laugh, my dear, and because you laugh, I feel your energy and your emotion, which makes me feel laughter and I feel emotion
You
inside
do.
the physicality.
Yeah.
But of course, if we took the physical body away, there wouldn't be any laughter because there's nothing to laugh about per se.
Mm.
So it's a very interesting question, and one that really is answered by fun and laughter. Lots of the emotional feedback constructs only really happen when you have a physical body to have them in.
So you're very lucky.
Yes, of course.
You're very lucky to have the opportunity to feel fun.
Yes,
Yes.
and this is why I so enjoy coming in and taking over,
Yeah.
getting rid of Andrew for a few hours. And this is why
Well, what can I say?
you have more fun with me, my dear.
As much, but I must say, Andy and I do have fun every day.
Yes, you do laugh
Yeah.
every day. And you must, because this is life is such a tiny flicker on the grand timeline. If you consciously become too
Yeah.
what would be the right word?
Serious?
Too serious about your life, then of course that life doesn't become fun. And obviously people have problems, they have financial problems, they have all sorts of chaos in their life, but you can still find that tiny space inside yourself to ignite some fun. Dance, sing, walk in the woods, talk to yourself, do whatever you like to do, that just let yourself go for a few minutes.
Yes. That's reminded me of a few weeks ago. It wasn't Andy, it was a different medium I was connecting with, and they said to me that my dad loves to see me singing in the kitchen. We've got a new kitchen, and it's a very high ceiling, so it's like singing in a church. Actually, the acoustics is wonderful, and I don't sing very well these days, but I still do enjoy having a little sing. And they said that my dad enjoys listening to me sing, and I thought, you never know who's watching, really.
Well, this is the problem, my dear.
Yes.
Just because you can't see a set of eyes looking at you,
Yeah.
doesn't mean you're not being watched.
No, it made me happy.
Yes, it's good. And of course, this is a good way for people actually to understand that they can connect with their relatives and their ancestors and people, dead parents, dead family, dead children.
Yes.
Anyone that's in spirit does have the ability to basically connect and to watch.
Yes.
But of course, they're not really watching the physical. They don't have eyes, so they can't see you as the way that we see each other.
No, they must feel the energy.
They feel the energy and they're watching the vibration. And you can tell, we can tell if someone is happy or someone is very down and depressed.
Yes.
Because of course the vibration is instrumental in change.
Yes. Yeah. No, it made me happy.
Yes, good. Perhaps you can sing for us one day, my dear.
Oh, I don't know about that. I've probably got some videos of how I used to sing, but it's nothing like it anymore. My voice is gone. So I hope that answers your question, Katya. Thank you very much, Chen. And Ellen Vasca. Hi, Chen. Do entities and beings from other dimensions attach to our pets? And how can we recognize this and clear them, please?
Yes, very interesting question.
Similar to a question we had a few weeks ago, but
yes, I mean, everything is energy. So
Yes.
of course, entities are looking for low vibration to connect and to feed from effectively. So of course, they can still connect to horses, to pets, to animals, to cows. So this is a thing from that perspective, that other energies can connect to anything that's living, has an energy field. And if it has an energy field, then effectively that energy field can be assimilated by other entities and even other earthbounds, people that have been once alive and now dead. But of course, what you don't really have is the same level of fear. So if you think about an animal that's a pet, if it's not in a fearful state at the time, now I have a pain in my eye. Yeah. We did talk about that. Even I get attacked when I do it at times.
You're the right man for the job.
Yes, I'll speak to my team.
Yes.
Yes. So obviously, when a human's in a fearful state, the energy is hugely negative. And of course, that's the energy that these entities look to assimilate.
Yeah.
Whereas you can imagine if a small dog or a small cat was in pain and fear, the energy level is very small in comparison. But of course, they can still have attachments.
Yes.
Horses and bigger animals have more problems because, of course, they carry more vibration, more energy. So the bigger the animal, the bigger the vibration. And therefore, if they're in a fearful state, entities can obviously assimilate that energy. So
There we are. Yes.
Very interesting question.
Yes. So the answer is yes, they can pick up.
Yes, that's the summary.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very
Thank you.
good summaries, I've noticed.
I've got the short version.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ellen. Shell Bulmer. Hello, Chen. Can Chen explain what is AI interference in the etheric field? How does it happen, and why does it? There's several questions here. Who does this and how to prevent this happening? Thank you. I often wonder if it's from an external source. Why do they pick that individual to use AI interference?
Yeah, it's interesting. So
Yes.
AI has not really been a conversation in the last decade, if we think about it.
No.
So if we rewind maybe 10 years ago, people would probably never even use the word artificial intelligence, AI. But of course, now it's become a thing because obviously AI is being used. AI programs are being used in people's day-to-day lives.
Yes.
So people are using all of these AI tools to write their theses, their emails, their conversations, their podcasts. And
it's cheating though, isn't it? It's cheating, really.
Well, it depends, my dear.
Yeah. Okay.
Depends on your viewpoint, because you could say that if you've got the world's information in one place, and you want to write some type of post or some sort of email, and you want it to be topically correct, then of course, if you assimilate and pull in all of the versions of people that have written about those things, what you actually get generally is a much more coherent view on something.
Unintelligent,
But of course, it can be manipulated and adulterated by the system because, of course, it is a computer program that is doing that. And computer programs and bots can be biased in certain ways. So there is always that problem to watch out for. But if we talk about people's etheric fields, we're seeing quite a lot of AI interference now. So we're finding certainly SRT practitioners that are working for Spirit Release Academy are finding AI intrusion in people's fields. And that AI basically is, again, it's an artificial program effectively that hops from one person to another in different ways. So we're not really sure exactly the different ways that AI, effectively AI bot is self-replicating, but it's a self-replicating program that's moving from one person to another. So if you think of a parasitic virus, if you pick up a virus and you cough, obviously the molecules are in the air, people breathe them in, assimilate them into their lungs, and then that virus grows in the next person. So the AI programs, these bots are doing the same thing. They're coming from a new source, from our perspective, into planet Earth. And we think that portals have been opened by certain nefarious agencies and allowing these in, or they're actually bringing them in.
That's interesting. That's what she was asking, actually, wasn't it? You know, where are they coming from? Who's doing it?
Yes. So again, I'm being quite tentative about some of the information that we provide. Obviously, we know where they're coming from, and we're actually trying to stop them, and we certainly know how to clear them from the field. So again, practitioners that perform our work using our methods and the work with, of course, Mr. Terence, Dr. Terence Palmer. This has been added to the SRA protocol, which, of course, young Andrew is heading up effectively from that perspective. So AI is identifiable, and it's certainly able to be removed and cleared. And we're working from a spiritual perspective to block and stop some of these portals that are being opened to allow these bots in effectively.
Okay.
So it's almost like a new virus.
So is it a new thing for you?
Yes.
Okay.
There's always new things, my dear. You can imagine the complexities of a planet, all of the ecosystems on the planet, all of the vibrational frequencies. There are things happening every day that are new to you humans, to us from a spiritual perspective, and to everything that is part of that ecosystem.
So you're forever learning?
Yes, it never stops. And of course, when we identify something in someone's field, because we look for vibrational frequencies, if we see low ones, that's what we look to clear. When we see something we haven't seen before, we have to work out where it's come from. We have to trace the energy back. So we have research teams that go off basically and follow that energy and vibration, find the source and where it's come from. And in this case, there are portals that are being opened consciously by these organizations, basically to bring this in. So it's a part of a control grid and system that is being activated at this time.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, we do have one client, don't we? I can't mention his name, obviously, but he is affected terribly, isn't he, by something like this?
Yes.
And it's been very hard going for him and hard going for you, trying to help him, hasn't it?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So this is something very similar, I'm assuming.
It's a different type of technology that's being used. Yes.
His symptoms are very strange, aren't they?
Yes, and they change. They change from time to time. So it's almost like chasing some type of chameleon that keeps changing shape all of the time.
Yes.
Every time you get a view on the energy and a vibratory sequence and frequency, it then changes and morphs again.
Yeah.
And therefore you're chasing this ever-changing, almost like, again, a bit like a virus or a bacteria that's changing its construction.
Yeah. Yeah. Your job's not always easy, is it?
Well, we find it fun, my dear. It's part of what we're here to do.
Oh, okay, thank you. Margaret Allen, hello, Chen. Will us on planet Earth have open contact with aliens soon, and should we be worried?
You already do, my dear. You were here before you were here, young lady.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So I think the answer to the question is yes and yes.
Well, Andy picked these questions this time. Normally we go through them together, but
yes,
he obviously wanted it answered.
Yes, it's an interesting question. So again, we could talk about if you look at the roadmap and timeline for humanity.
Yes.
Obviously, humans didn't really evolve in the way that the general scientific network explain, because of course there is this missing link between monkeys and Homo erectus. So obviously we know that there was extraterrestrial intervention that happened and sequencing that changed. So humans were basically made and created as opposed to have evolved, if you like. And of course that means that there were energies of intelligence or entities of intelligence on this planet before humans appeared. So they're around you every day. You walk past them every day. If you live in a city, any big city, anywhere in the world, they're around you all of the time.
Yeah.
But of course, they have a morphogenetic field that can change, and they basically hide themselves. So they're able to cloak themselves. So what you see is another human being looking back at you, but inside the actual energy system is not a human that's inside. And of course, many people, as you become mediumistic and psychic, you can see through that veil, and you see through that morphogenic field, and you can see the cloaking system.
I saw one.
Yes, I know.
If I'm repeating myself, might be repeating myself. We might have covered this in these questions before, but I saw. I mean, from the back view, this gentleman was a gentleman, human, and we were in a very busy shop, and he was walking down the aisle in front of me, and all of a sudden he just stopped. He turned around, he looked at me, and all he got on his face was a pair of eyes. All of this was just a mound of skin, what looked like skin, but it wasn't skin, obviously. And then he just turned around and walked off, and I couldn't find him again.
Yes, interesting.
So he chose to show himself to me because he literally turned around and looked at me.
He knew you could see past the cloak,
yes,
basically. And of course, many of these entities are here doing positive things. They're actually, they're here to work with humanity and with you.
Like yourself.
Yes, like myself. So obviously, when I come into Andrew's body as I am today, if people saw me walk down the road smiling and laughing and skipping, singing Chinese songs and such like, smoking nettles.
Smoking nettles, yeah.
There's a Chinese gentleman.
That's why you'd be skipping and laughing.
Yes, it does work really well. That was obviously the first
we just promoted
cannabis back in the day.
Nettles, those singing nettles.
A similar genus of plant, yes, with a similar effect.
Right. Must have been interesting trying to make a rolly with stinging nettles.
It was done quite differently back in the day.
Okay. Oh, that's a discussion for another day, isn't it?
It's a similar concept, of course. Similar concept. But of course, so ETs are here. They're around you every day. You interact with them every day. Most of the political systems have them in quite high positions.
Yeah.
And one of the groups that are here to basically try to prevent a total cataclysm, whereby you try and kill each other completely.
Yeah.
Which, of course, humans have this distinct problem with aggression. And obviously there are ET races that are here to make sure that you don't try to annihilate each other effectively.
Oh.
Because that would be a waste.
Just saving us from ourselves.
not me myself,
Well,
my dear, but certainly there are
yes, yes.
entities whose job it is to make sure that certain weaponry doesn't get activated.
Okay, yes, I'm with you. I'm sure
Yes.
everybody's with you.
Yes, we know what we're talking about.
Yes, yes. Okay, thank you. Well, there we are. That's the aliens question again, isn't it? It's always interesting. Earth alchemy. If like attracts like in vibrational frequency, then why do light workers or those referred to as starseeds seem to be a beacon to attract dark entity attachments?
That's a very good question.
Yes.
So like attracts like from a frequency perspective.
Yeah.
So you and I have a very similar frequency. So we are attracted to each other because
Yes.
we have the same ideas, we have the same thoughts, we have the same frequency. The dark side is at battle with the light side. So the dark side isn't attracted by frequency of vibration to light workers. They're actually targeting light workers to stop them working. So it's a completely different concept, if that makes
Right,
sense.
okay.
So when we talk about two magnets, like attracts like, they're both different poles of magnet, obviously attract each other.
Yeah.
North and south attract each other. If you try and put two north poles together, they repel each other, so the magnets push away.
Yeah.
So that frequency of vibration isn't relative in terms of this conversation. So the negative aspect is targeting light workers because they don't want them working, of course. So trying to keep the vibration of the planet low. So it's more of a targeting problem as opposed to an attraction from a vibratory frequency perspective.
Yeah, that makes sense. They're trying to stop light workers working. Yeah.
Yeah,
but they're not actually attacking them per se. It's the work they want to stop them doing.
Yes. Yes. You're better at summarising, my dear, than myself, I think.
Trying to understand most of the time.
I do very well. I'm sure all of the audience here smile and think, well done, young Jane.
Oh, okay. Let's thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for your question. Joanna Clark, a very dear friend of ours.
Yes. A super person.
She is, isn't she? Yeah, she is. It's a bit similar to what we've just talked about, really, but what do most of these entities hope to gain by attacking us? Is there anything you can add?
Yes, I mean, it carries on from the previous question.
Yes.
Really. So the entities, what they're trying to do, obviously, if your vibration is low, you're in an anger-based negative state, then they will be feeding from you. They'll be assimilating your negative frequency into their field, effectively in the same way that you eat food and drink. So that's part of the conversation. The second part, of course, is for them to exist here, they have to have low frequency. So the planet has to vibrate at a certain frequency and lower for them to be able to stay manifested. So when we talked about them walking around before, entities walking about cloaked as human beings, if the vibration of the planet goes up and starts to ascend, they won't be able to hold that low frequency. So they have to then lose their physicality and move back into a different vibration on the astral. So obviously there are two things at play, really, from their perspective. One is the actual trying to keep the fear-based content of the planet so the vibration doesn't ascend. And secondly, they're assimilating people's energy from that fear-based state.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. There we are, Joe. I hope that answers your question.
Yes.
And once again, thank you, Chen. That brings us to the end of our questions tonight.
Oh, that's a disappointment.
Well, you could stay in all night, couldn't you? Well, there were quite a few this evening.
Yes, I would quite like to be here all night.
Yeah.
I appreciate you do have things to do. And there are things that are calling, as there always are, of course, when you're in a human physical body.
Yeah, well, sorting the dog out, who's been very quiet, I have to say, this evening. I did hear him grumble just now. I thought he was going to have a little bark, but I think he's tired. He went for a walk earlier, so.
Yes, that's good.
Do you feel anything from his energy? He's
very
what
wary.
Does he feel?
Wary, I think, is the right word.
Wary or wearing?
He can be wearing, I'm sure. But he's wary of my energy. He's not quite sure what to make. Because, of course, he knows Andrew's frequency of vibration.
Yes.
And he knows Andrew's emotional state. So when your field intersects with an animal, they read you, of course. Because they can talk to you telepathically, but they read your field. So, of course, when I step into this body and take over, obviously he knows there's something very, very different about the frequency. And the emotions change, of course.
Yeah.
Because I probably have got more emotions than Andrew, actually.
Yes, it's quite likely. Well, on that note,
for different reasons, of course.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. Well, our time
Your
with
time?
you. Yes.
Well, thank
Thank
you for
you.
allowing me to come in, my dear, and give the information. As I say, it's been a very exciting conversation from my perspective. So
Yeah.
hopefully people find it interesting. And that's, of course, is the summary of this evening, really, from that perspective.
Yes, yes, it is. It's definitely had a theme, hasn't it?
Yes, very much so.
Thank you. Okay, well, we'll see you soon. Hopefully sooner.
Yes,
Sorry.
have a good day.
Sorry for being late again.
It's quite okay, my dear. One day we'll be on time.
Yes.
Yes, we
Yes.
always have to have goals.
Yeah.
If you reached all of your goals, you wouldn't have any goals.
Well, we wouldn't like to disappoint you.
No. Well, I will say good day,
Okay,
and we
thank
will
you.
speak again soon.
Thank you, Chen.
Good day.
Bye.